Okay, you guys, I'm here. It's been weeks that I've been trying to make a video for you guys. Postpartum is kicking my butt. And going from 1 to 2 is kicking my butt. So the only way I can really get this done is if I talk as fast as possible, which I normally do anyway. And if I do this while I'm moving around the house, so I'm sorry if you see a lot of movement and stuff and not good images of me. I look a mess anyway, so it doesn't matter. A horrible, horrible mess. But yeah, this is raw image. This is raw footage of what you look like after having a baby who's just a couple of weeks old now and a toddler, and they're both very demanding of your time. So let's get to it. And I don't even know where to start, like always. So where we left off, I believe I updated you guys on, I was around 35 weeks. I had just done some blood work for a preeclampsia workup, and I think that's where we left off. I had already told you guys I had pneumonia, horrible cough. Pregnancy at that point was very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And I was praying to make it to 38 weeks. It was my goal to make it to 38 weeks. My OB wanted me to get to at least 37. The high-risk doctor was saying the longer the better. As long as her preeclampsia is controlled, let's try to go to 38. I don't know if you remember when I first started this series of little videos or whatever, my goal was to at least get to 35. I wanted to at least get to 37 on my due date. I can't remember exactly what I said in the first video, but I do remember saying at least to 35 so that we don't have to do NICU time. I remember that. And then somewhere in there, I got hooked on this 37, 38 week thing. And I think the issue with me is when you give me a date and I have others around me that may be going against the date, it kind of challenges me. Also, I wanted what was best for my baby, and just like the MFM doctor was saying, the longer the better. And I just wanted to just see if I could do it overall. So I guess that's part of the challenge. So somewhere in there, I did kind of lose perspective of what we originally started. And then plus, I was working out and all that stuff in the beginning, eating right, and things went left once I developed pneumonia. And I don't know what it is. I know every pregnancy is different, but this pregnancy was, I don't know if, and like I said, I told y'all, I'm going to speak about God. I don't know if because I spoke a lot about how easy pregnancy was with my son, easy pregnancy, horrible delivery experience, and I also kind of felt like I was, because he came so early, that I was cut short, pregnancy time, and didn't get to experience certain things. I felt like God was like, okay, you didn't get to experience it, here it is. Because from the moment I found out I was pregnant, it was always something. That's how I found out I was pregnant so early. It was always something from the beginning, not feeling well, feeling drained, the horrible nausea, horrible nausea. To each, week, something changed. And like I said, I had my son at 33. Something about me going with this pregnancy, from hitting from 33 to that 34th week, and I was already having discomfort. No, don't get me wrong. But something from that to that week, that discomfort just got so severe, from me not being able to sleep, from me not being able to walk too long. I couldn't even sweep or mop. Let me tell you, the other day I cleaned this house. Well, not the whole house, but I cleaned downstairs, and I couldn't believe how well I could move. And it didn't even dawn on me that I was moving good because I no longer have, the belly and stuff in my way. Even me reaching to wipe stuff down, I was able to reach it so easy. So I don't want to go TMI. Things got bad. Sneezing, coughing, things come in each direction. So you already can figure out what I'm trying to say. every time I sneezed or coughed. Pregnancy got really, really rough after that 33rd week. Yeah. But anyway, I say all this to say, to follow up what happened. I did the preeclampsia workup that Tuesday. So just to kind of go back a little bit, a different nurse ordered the test for the doctor. My MFM wanted me to do the test, but the test has to be ordered through my OB. And then the MFM get the results that my OB ordered. So a different nurse in the office ordered it, and then who would normally do it, and it was done differently. So the way it's normally done, I get my test, they go to all my doctors automatically. They don't have to even search for them, it just goes to them. However she did it this time, it went to the lab, an outside lab called LabCorp, which the hospital has a LabCorp there, but because LabCorp is still their own company, and I hope I'm saying this right, it just went there. I have an account with LabCorp, so of course they sent me a notification saying your results are in. But my doctor would have had to known I did the test and to go in and search. It wasn't how it normally was done, where it just pop up saying, hey, here's Miss Williams' test results, or however it's done. I would have had to tell him I did it and get results. I did not know that. He or she did not know that's how the tests were done. So make a long story short, I did the test that Tuesday. By Wednesday, I checked, got the results. I immediately was like, I have my preeclampsia is severe. It's severe. And that had to be, so I did the video. I don't know what day exactly I did it. I think the day I did the video was the day I just finished doing the test. So the next day, I was like, I'm preeclamptic as fuck. At that moment, I was going to the doctor 3 times a week. My next appointment was going to be that Friday, because I was going Monday, Tuesday, Friday. So I just knew when I went that Friday, well, I figured they was going to call me. But I was like, they don't call me when I go this Friday, then they go keep me when I go Friday. So I went Friday, they didn't keep me. My friends, one of my cousins who we know was staying on top of everything with me, they was like, have your bag packed because you know you're going to be admitted. Which I ain't have it packed, not on purpose, just life, just whatever. But long story short, I got there, did my testing, wasn't admitted. It never even came up. So I was like, either they saw them and they was like, we need more information, or maybe they didn't see them. But me foolishly didn't say anything, which I probably should have. But like I said, I got beside myself and lost in this staying pregnant until 37, 38 weeks, that I was like, I'm gonna just hush. At this point, when I went that Friday, at that point I was 36 weeks exactly. So I was like, one more week is 37, one more week is 38, I had already scheduled my cesarean too. It was already scheduled on the books and everything. So yeah, and I'm sorry if I keep pausing my babies. So yeah. So that was that. So went to my appointment, left. My cousin, FaceTimed me immediately. She couldn't believe I was in the car going home, and I was like, they did have some concerns about the baby that Friday though, because she was moving kind of slow, but they gave me a shock, and as she started kicking and going crazy, Sydney home, she looked good. They did an ultrasound to double check. She looked fine. They did a stress test, So that Monday I had an appointment with the regular OB. Again, nothing was said. And it was my regular OB's office, but my OB was not there that day. So I had to be seen by someone else, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I know at some point you see other doctors, but with my first pregnancy, I saw my one OB the whole time. So I got used to that. So he did his little exam, checked the baby, everything's fine. And I'm gonna just bring up something by this point, I'm so tired of going to doctors, honestly, at this time. Like I said, I had been going 3 times a week. Sometimes I was going 4, I had to come back and repeat blood work, or I was just tired, or just had other appointments in general that didn't even pertain to the baby. Dental, my nephrology, just stuff. So, where was I? So yeah, they went to see my regular OB doctor's office. Everything was, they did the little thing they do and then sent me home. So by now, my cousin especially is like, what is going on? You need to call them. This is concerning, because when I check my levels, just to give you heads up, when I check my levels online, I can't remember the number exactly, but I want to say it was like 1,024, 1,026. When you consider having a great amount of protein in your urine is at 200 mg, DLs, whatever. When you're pregnant, they allow an extra 100 because they know that you're going to naturally spill some type of protein when you're pregnant. So they allow you to say 300 before they start raising eyebrows and saying, okay, we need to do a test to see exactly how much is in there when you're above 300. But once you reach 300 in pregnancy, you are considered as having preeclampsia. So, like I said, what made me do the workup was I had 3+, which they really should do it when I had 2+. But when you're pregnant, but anyway, I'm not gonna repeat myself. I just said that. So, yeah, that's what made everybody say all that the week before and the day I had with this doctor, because when I went over my results, everything was like triple the amount. Everything from my uric acid, just everything that you test for preeclampsia was tripled the amount. The only thing that was kind of big control was my blood pressure and my creatinine, the kidney function. I think I told you guys the last time what they wanted to do was also check, because you could have some protein, and if it's not too dangerous, they'll still let you kind of, just monitor you close. But then they also want to check your kidney function, because preeclampsia can affect your organs. And with me already having kidney problems, they wanted to check that especially. So my liver was one of the few things on the test that actually was good still, because that can be affected too by preeclampsia. But well, really all your organs, but everything they checked for with liver, with my liver, was great. But my creatinine was 1.34, which isn't the worst. I'm going to be honest, isn't the worst. But when you normally run at a 0.8 average, that's when concern was rising. My nephrologist and my OB both told me that they expected my preeclampsia to go up. My creatinine to increase, because it's naturally going to increase when you're pregnant. But they never gave me a guideline or a number of what it was going to increase to. I'm not going to increase to, but what they kind of consider like, okay, yeah, it increased, but we expect that because you're pregnant. So mine did increase to 1.3. The last time I had to check where they wasn't concerned, it was at 1.0 exactly. Like I said, I normally run 0.8. 1.0 for somebody that's not pregnant still isn't even the worst for transplant people, not for normal, healthy, whatever. But for transplant people, 1 isn't still the worst. Isn't the worst. So, yeah, went to regular OB Monday. They sent, did the workup, whatever appointment, sent me home. Tuesday, I went back to the high-risk doctor, and this is when everything went down. Tuesday, went to the high-risk doctor. They're doing my stress test like they normally do routinely every Tuesday and Friday. They checked my pressure, and it was high. Not like, oh my God, go to the ER right now high, but it was high. And like I said, all this time, my pressure has been being controlled. Even Monday, the day before, at the OB office, my pressure was like 120/70 something, showing no signs of preeclampsia. So they did the stress test and it was like 140 something over 90. She was like, she said, okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. We just put you on a test, give you a few minutes, recheck it. Rechecked it, was like 152 over 96. So she said, did you do? So she looked at, online. She said, I see and this is the nurse, by the way, this isn't a doctor. She said, I see we ordered a preeclampsia workup. Did you do it? I don't see it here. I said, yeah, I did it. She said, when? I said, last Tuesday. She said, last Tuesday? I said, yeah. She said, I don't see it. And she said, where did you do it? So I said, in the hospital. Where? I said, downstairs, in this building, just downstairs. And she was like, I don't see it. So she said, let me call the doctor. So she walked out the room. The doctor was back in the room in, 5 or 10 minutes. The doctor asked me the same questions. Where did you do the test? When did you do it? When you go get your blood work, let me just pop up. I said, I know. I was wondering why you guys haven't, because I said I did it when you guys ordered it. When you wanted me to, and had my OB ordered it. So it's like, yeah, it should have just popped up automatically. So they told me who did it go through. So I said, it said on LabCorp which I said, email sent to my phone through LabCorp, which that normally never happens when I do work for y'all. Now my nephrologist and stuff like that, it will, because he ordered through LabCorp. But when it's done through this, where it's supposed to go to all my doctors, I never got like a separate email from LabCorp Quest or whatever it is. So she said, oh, that's why. She said, okay, well, that means I have to search for it. And that's when she explained to me what I explained to y'all in the beginning, that when it's done that way, they have to go and get it. It don't just pop up. So she said, give me a few minutes and I need to search for it. So they finished the stress test and all of that. After the stress test, they sent me to go do the ultrasound. And while I'm doing the ultrasound, the tech, when she finished, they normally say, okay, well, the doctor will come in and talk to you. Or okay, we'll see you next week. She said, she had me, get myself ready. And she said, I'm gonna have you sit right here in this little area. I knew right then something was, whatever, because like I said, they'll finish the ultrasound and I stay on the ultrasound table, and then the doctor come in and go over the ultrasound with me to explain everything or whatever. This time the tech had me get up, get myself dressed, get off the ultrasound table, and she said, sit right here. She had me sit like in a little area that was in the room. So the doctor came in and sat on her little chair that rolled and rolled up to me and opened her folder and opened the computer and turned it so I can see. And she said, anything under 300 means you don't have preeclampsia while you're pregnant. Anything above 300 means you do. 400, 500, 600, maybe even 700, we would just monitor you closely. She said, you're at triple the amount of 300. That's when I say it was like 1,026 or something like that. She said your creatinine is 1.34. So she said we're gonna have you go for delivery. So I'm like, exhale, because a piece of me, like always, was holding on to that. We're gonna make it. And so yeah, so I said, okay, when? So she said now. So I'm like, well, my son has an appointment at 12. Can I take him to his appointment to come back? She said no. So I'm like, okay. So then I say, I said, so you're gonna take me downstairs? She said, yes, transportation is already on the way. That meant they had everything already set up. When that lady went to tell the doctor, when the doctor said, I'm gonna go search for it, whatever she had already went and saw, she had already ordered transportation to come up there, because she said, no, transportation is already on the way. You're not going anywhere. Now my eyes are beginning to water a little bit. So I was like, well, when do you think I'll deliver? Thinking she's going to say maybe tomorrow or in 2 days. They're going to give me time to hook me up, get me fluids, whatever. Because with my son, that's what I did. With my son, I went in on a Tuesday as well, but I didn't deliver him until Friday. And a piece of that could have been because they tried to induce me first with him. But either way, I didn't deliver him until Friday. So when I asked her that, she said, no, I'm preparing to get a OR ready for you at around 3:30. At this time, it's like 10:30. So now I'm trying to hold back the tears. So she's like, "You're okay?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You're fine. You're At this time, I was 36 weeks and 4 days." So it was just me trying to hold on until Friday. So, I said, "Okay." She walked out. And she walked out. She said, "Transportation will be in a minute, and I'll see you downstairs." So I FaceTimed my mom, my aunt right away, and that's when I just started crying. And they was asking why, because and looking back, I understand why they asked why, because I knew, everybody knew once the doctor saw those numbers, I was gonna have this baby, and I knew. But like I said, whatever I am or have in my brain, or the kind of person I am, I hold on to challenges, and I have hope, and I'm a hopeful person. So I was hoping that, it was a little piece of me that knew, girl, when they see these numbers, but another piece of me was like, well, they may be like, well, you're handling it well, your blood pressure's great, the baby's doing fine, your kidney, has the function has dropped a little bit, but it's not the worst. We can hold you out. What's gonna happen in another week or two? Especially with your blood pressure still being, I shouldn't do that. Especially with your blood pressure still being okay. So that's kind of, I think, the hope that I had. But what I had to realize after I had her, because it took me, like I said, I'm still kind of So transportation came. Let me just go back. Transportation came like they said it would. I didn't have to wait long. By the time I had that little 3-minute conversation with my mom and my aunt, who was getting stuff ready to come that way, transportation was knocking on the door to wheel me downstairs to labor and delivery. And when I got downstairs, they said my name, and there was already a room and nurses and doctors in there waiting. And when I got in that room, they immediately started undressing, dressing, probing, picking, sticking, asking all type of questions, having me sign this, do this, da da da. So yeah, just like she ordered, I went in that room. I don't know the exact time, but I want to say maybe about 3:20 something, and she was born at 3:44 p.m. So yeah. So 36 weeks and 4 days is when she was delivered. So we did this to see if I could get past 33 weeks like I did with my son, or even earlier than that, because it could have been earlier. I know a lot of people, their second time around is earlier than the first time around. So that was a real concern that I had as well, that it don't be, late. I got tired of leaning, I'm sorry. That it's not, earlier than before 33 weeks. So, y'all, I'm so raggedy. Oh my God. So, I had her, she was fine. No NICU time was needed. Another horrible delivery. So no, I know one of the things we talked about was, would I have an easier delivery since I had a rough pregnancy? Delivery, I had a lot of scar tissue just from having a lot of abdominal surgeries before, because I've had a transplant, I've had my appendix removed, and then my cesarean 3 years ago. So the doctor, which wasn't my regular OB, that's something else that just kind of went wrong. They told me that they were going to reach out to him to see if they can get him there. He told me that they never reached out to him. What they did was saw that he was working in a different county and just didn't reach out to him. When he said the county he was working in wasn't even an hour away. When I asked him to reach out to him, it was around 11:30. I didn't go into the OR room until after 3. He would have had more than enough time to get there, but that's something totally different. And I'm not bashing a doctor, but I don't know, because I really don't know. That's something else I have to get into, and once I'm mentally okay, investigate a little bit more. but she tried to cut through the scar tissue, or she didn't realize it was that much scar tissue. And when she cut, I bled out a lot. I lost a lot of blood. I started feeling weak immediately. I will never forget. I kept asking them, telling them I didn't feel okay. They kept telling me I was fine, trying to keep me calm. But I don't know how to describe it except I was laying there. And by now the baby's out. And when the baby's out, they have the dad go follow the baby to the wherever they're going, whether it's the room, recovery, NICU, or whatever. So he's there with the baby. And at this point, I'm in there alone with my nurse, though, who I met that morning. And she was really, really cool. She was trying to keep me as comfortable as possible. But she knew that I knew something was wrong. And my exact words to her was, I feel small. I feel like I'm shrinking. Like everything's around me is getting big and I'm shrinking. And when I looked on the monitor, my pressure was 90 something over 70 something. And she said, it's okay, it's okay. And I said, I feel like, and a few minutes passed. And I said, I feel like I'm getting worse. And when she said it, when I said that again, I looked at the monitor and my pressure was 77 over 52. I'll never forget. And when I looked and saw those numbers, the doctor who was, doing whatever she was doing at that time asked the nurse or asked whoever was in there assisting her what was my pressure. And when they told her, she said, give her, and I don't know what the word was, but she said, give it to her. And she said, like in a rush, like stat. And then she said, get 3 liters of blood in here, stat. And whatever she gave to me, I started feeling better fast. I did. Not better like, oh, I'm a brand new person, but me feeling weak and like I'm shrinking was starting to reverse. And when I looked, my pressure was back like at 90 over, and then it went again to like 100 over, whatever. And then they was giving me the blood. Got to my recovery room and they had to give me more blood. And I think when I started to panic too, they gave me something to relax me. So whatever they get, and I'm a lightweight person. I don't take pain meds and that kind of stuff well. So whatever they gave me to relax me, because I was starting to panic. I'm asking questions. I'm like, get me off this table. I don't want to say I overreacted, because looking back, I was, yeah. So they gave me something, I don't want to say to shut me up, but to like kind of make me just dwindle down. And so after that, everything is a blur. I remember stuff here and there. And it's funny that I remember that vividly with it being before. But everything that was happening while I was under whatever they gave me is it's a blur. Like I said, I remember pieces. I remember my aunt all of a sudden being there. I remember seeing their dad, and I remember him asking questions. I remember the doctor coming in, is trying to explain to me what happened. I remember her ordering more blood. And I remember them saying, instead of you going to a room on the regular floor, we're going to have to keep you and put you in, which is still a hospital room, but I was going to have to stay on that floor though, for at least 24-hour monitoring. And I remember being in that room, don't know what that room looked like to this day. I remember being in and out. I remember being extremely thirsty. I remember asking for Wendy's lemonade. I remember vomiting a lot. But what's so strange to me, everything that I remember that was happening, is like my eyes was closed the whole time. I remember seeing my baby, but not knowing, like at that moment, couldn't tell you what she looked like if you would have asked me. But I do remember, like, looking at her. I remember seeing people hold her, but I haven't. If I held her, yeah, I don't think I held her until the next day. Yeah, I don't think I held her that day. I know once I was in that bed that night, I didn't. My aunt stayed with me, and thank God she did. My mom had my son, and then the dad was back home getting the house ready since everything happened abruptly. He was home getting the house ready for whenever I did come home. So my aunt stayed with me, which is like my other mom. And I remember opening my eyes every now and then, and she had the baby. So once I saw that she had the baby, I was okay. I remember hearing her talk to the baby, feed the baby. It was, I'm not going to cry, but she came through. She was there for my baby. Because I know the nurses would have took care of her, but if I feel sorry, and I don't say sorry in a bad way, but I really do feel sorry for people, women, especially who don't have support, because just thinking like, even now I can't do it alone, but that day I wouldn't have been able to do anything for my baby. Like a nurse would have had to be there to do everything for her. I wouldn't have been able to do nothing. So thank God for my aunt being there, taking care of her for me. Like I said, me being asleep, I didn't know what was going on. But every time I woke up, it was back to, I just had a baby. I was in the worst pain ever, the worst pain ever from the cesarean. I didn't, with my son, even though the delivery itself was traumatic. When I say traumatic, it's because it was forced, it was scary, it was all of that kind of stuff. But the cesarean was easy. I was scared, but it was easy. No pain, no. I remember them making me having to take pain medicine, making me have to take pain medicine. With this one, they didn't have to tell me to take pain medicine. Like, whatever. It was like, I need it. But yeah, just thank God for her. Thank God for a family, period. But definitely thank God for her. Yeah, because their dad was going to stay, but she she told him just to go home and take care of his things, and she would stay. And I'm glad she did, because yeah, she was so attentive to her. Every single time I opened my eyes, she had her every time. And I don't know how often I did, but every time I opened my eyes, she had her. So I hope this story isn't too boring, because I know it's long and I don't have energy. In my last video, I do want to apologize, because I didn't review the whole thing, but I reviewed it briefly, and I was dragging that story too. I think I was just so miserable. So I hope you're still here at this point, tuned in, if I do decide to post these videos. So can I say the working out, just to get back from why I even did all of this, can I say the working out helped? Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know, because I stopped so early. I stopped around 6 months, but I didn't work out at all with my son, but I worked out with her. And then, like I said, I got that pneumonia. It tore my behind up, but running behind my toddler was truly a workout. So I was getting some type of, movement in. Can I say the eating and stuff helped out? I don't know. And the only reason why I say this is because even though I carried her longer, preeclampsia started developing around the same time it did with him. I don't know exactly when it developed with him. I had him at 33 weeks. The number that it was when I had him was a high number, so I'm guessing it was the same thing. But I probably started developing preeclampsia with him probably in my late 20s. And they just didn't see it until, then. With her, they was checking me so much that I'm guessing I developed probably preeclampsia. Well, I don't want to say develop, because I probably was, like I say, when I had the trace 2, which was around 33 weeks. So when I got the trace 2 is when preeclampsia was there or developing. And when I did it again at 34 weeks and saw trace 3. So I can officially say preeclampsia started developing at 33 weeks and was there by 34 weeks. So it did buy me some time. It did. I mean, I did have more time. I just don't know if it was linked to working out and eating better. When I got towards that part, honestly, I wasn't even eating, not worse, I just wasn't eating at all. I could only eat like 1 time a day and snack the rest of the day. Sometimes I wasn't even eating 1 time a day, or if I ate, it wasn't even a full meal. It just wasn't, I wasn't eating. I didn't have the room, the energy. I felt horrible. So I can't really speak on the food and the working out past a certain amount of weeks. But working out in the beginning, the way I was, could have bought me time. The nutrition part, I don't know. But the praying part, I still prayed. I prayed hard. I prayed all the time. I prayed all day. I would pray in my sleep. Hold on, my toddler's up. I'm coming, Zaya. I would pray in my sleep. So, yeah, that could have helped. I'll be back. All right, sorry. He woke up, but I didn't mean to say maybe it helped. I'm going to say it did. No, we know it helped. Prayer helped. And the reason why I say that to say is I feel like I lost sight of everything at some point, because once one doctor said 37 weeks and I was like, okay, cool, you hoping for that, perfect. And then the other doctor said 38 weeks. I was like, okay, great. Shoot, in my mind I'm like, we might can do the due date, you know what I'm saying? But once I got to those 30 weeks, I didn't want to do the due date. Like, I was hoping for 37, 38, but definitely wasn't trying to do the due date anymore. If I would have, now let me retract that statement. Anything for my baby. If my body would not have been in a dangerous situation, I would have been uncomfortable for her until her due date. I would have. I want to, but I would have, and even further along. But I would have held out to 37, also 38 weeks, had I not been in a dangerous situation, no matter how uncomfortable I was. Because, like I said, when I cried, I think I cried because my mind was on the goal. But a piece of me in the back of my head was kind of relieved, because I was like, oh, I've been uncomfortable anyway. Well, in that moment, I wasn't relieved. In that moment, I wasn't. And in that moment, I wanted to go home and do some stuff. And I was like, even in my head, I'm like, dang, can we even do this Friday? Friday, I'll be 37 weeks. That's just 3 more days. Ain't nothing happening in 3 more days. And I'll be 37 weeks. Like, that'll be a goal. But now that I've had time to be home and off the pain medicines and sit in my postpartum, which is another topic I may cover, not in this video, because postpartum is one of the reasons why, well, it's different types of postpartum, but the type of postpartum that I experienced is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do this again after my first son. And it's not depression. It's not that. I'm going to do some more research before I speak on it. But what I'm experiencing and what I'm feeling this time around is no better. And I read that if you have more children within 5 years, in less than 5 years, and you already experienced it before, when you experience it again, it's going to be worse. And I think that's what's happening. What I was experiencing with him, I was sad all the time, angry, crying, but not depressed to where I want to, like, I'm depressed, I don't want this, or I'm not happy with my children or myself. I look at them and everything I feel goes away. I'm constantly thanking God for the both of them. It's a lot of frustration. It's hard. I'm always tired. They're tag teaming me. I only get 30 minutes to myself, maybe, unless baby boy is at school and she's sleeping. But I'm still not doing something like for me. If she's sleeping, I'm doing something to prep for her when she wake up, or maybe clean a bathroom. But I'm not, I'm not getting as much done as I want, but I'm also giving myself grace. I just had a baby, like, it's been some weeks, whether it's 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Like, I just delivered something that was inside of me for 9 months, that my body prepared for 9 months. So all of those hormones that was in me for 9 months are out, and they're going crazy, or they're releasing all at once hard. So it's some postpartum there. So that might be a different topic. I don't know if I'm going to post these videos. Zaya, you're going to fall. I don't know if I'm going to post these videos. We'll see. But back to the topic, because I can't stay on subject for whatever reason. My goal was, what I prayed for and what I asked God for in the beginning over and over again was no NICU time. And that prayer at some point changed to make it to 37, 38 weeks. So when I had her and I had those tears and I got back and I had that slight regret and why I can't just go 3 more days to 37 weeks. When I got home and got to the place where I am now and I'm looking at her And I'm just, I had to ask God for forgiveness, which I've been doing a lot lately, because my prayer was answered to get to 35 weeks, to have no NICU time. She's on the monitor. For her to be 100% healthy. And those prayers were answered. I just at some point changed my prayer to go further, based on what my doctor was saying. But my prayer was to get my baby here and have to not go through NICU time and spend time away from my toddler, which I did have to spend additional days in the hospital because of the type of delivery I had, losing all that blood. My iron was low, my temperature, they wanted that to come back to normal. My temperature was low, so I had to get those numbers back up. But I didn't have to spend NICU time like I did with him, and days and weeks away, trying to monitor. Like, I was able to be with him in the NICU 365. I meant 24/7. Did not have to leave the NICU. If she would have had to go there, I don't know if I would have had that same opportunity, and I don't know if I would have took it, because I would have had him home. So yeah, I didn't have to go through that and make those hard choices. So I just thank God, and he's down there I just thank God for that, because that was my original prayer. Once I settled into being comfortable with my pregnancy, was to make it to 35 weeks, hopefully 37, but at least 35, and definitely no NICU time. And that's exactly what we did and where we got. And she's perfect and she's beautiful, and I'm never having another baby again. I'm never having another baby again. I'm never having another baby again, no matter how perfect and beautiful they are. Besides what it does to your body, even if I didn't have any health issues, pregnancy is hard on your body. It's hard. Kudos to you women who do it over and over and over again. It's hard. But now that they are both here, it's definitely hard. And I have support and I have help, and it's still hard, because I also believe, get help with your newborn by all means, but the majority of the time, your baby, when they're that young, needs to be with you. That's how both of y'all heal, and that's how both of y'all grow, and that's how both of you guys thrive, is us being together. So she's always with me, and I'm always tired, but this time doesn't last long, so I'm gonna cherish it. And it will be a time when we'll go from newborn to infants to toddlers, so it's all, and it's not going, like I said, last long. So I'm just taking it all in as I can. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say. Y'all. And maybe when I come back, if I come back, I'll look better. I have my hair, eyebrows to be waxed. Won't have chin hairs and all that kind of stuff. But this is real. This is what it's like. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything, because I'm not coming back to add anything. So yeah, we went over the vitamins, aspirin, all that's in the same category with the workout and the food. All of that could have definitely helped. So I would just say, if you decide to do this, work out. And working out don't have to be to the gym, everything like I was doing. Working out could be walking for 20 minutes around your neighborhood, or at work, or at school, or just wherever it is. Just get some type of movement going, eat the best you can. But the vitamin D3, the fish oil, and the baby aspirin was highly recommended. And I also found out that vitamin D3, or vitamin D period, for women have so many benefits. So pregnant or not, look into taking vitamin D. It's a very good vitamin for us. Then go outside also and get your natural vitamin D. With how I'm feeling with this postpartum stuff, when I go outside and get some sunlight, I feel just that quick. I start feeling better. But then I come back in the house and I'm here for hours or whatever, and it's kind of set on me again. Pray. But if for any reason, And it doesn't mean God isn't working, God isn't real. Sometimes we have to experience these things to realize, everything comes together. Sometimes you have to experience certain things. But for if any reason you have your baby early, you have to do NICU time, just know it's going to be okay. Those doctors, those nurses, especially in the NICU, they're trained, and these babies are stronger than we think, and they thrive. And y'all know people who don't have preemies. I don't have to go down that line. But if you have a kidney transplant or any type of organ transplant at all, and you have a baby, just be grateful and be blessed and be thankful. I knew how hard pregnancy was, but this time around, that's another reason why it'll be my last. Is like, I can't explain it. I see now how hard pregnancy is. I see how much of a risk it definitely is for us. I see the dangers it can be. Even if you don't have health issues, it can be very, very dangerous. And with health issues is even more. And you don't want to keep putting your body through that, especially if you already have children. You need to be here for them. I know sometimes you want 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. If you have 1 or 2 and your doctor is telling you something, I'm not saying the doctors are right. God is real, but I'm just saying sometimes it's just okay to just look at your situation and be thankful for what you have and what God has blessed you with. Some people don't have that at all. Some people don't have that at all. It was hard on my body. I felt that this time. It was definitely harder than what it was 3 years ago. I look at things so differently than I did having my son 3 years ago. And it was the same process, but still, pregnancy is hard. I put my body through a lot, and I won't put my body through that again, especially with the delivery. I can't do another cesarean, another healing process, and I can't go through this postpartum again. I just can't. So I'll be back maybe to talk about postpartum. Give myself a little bit more time to heal and look better. And if I decide to post these videos, also that will decide if I do another video on postpartum, depending on the type of feedback I get. But even if I help one person, that's helping someone. And any questions you have, I don't even know how YouTube works. It's going to go on YouTube. Any questions you have, I don't know, what is it, inbox, reply back, whatever it is, ask. I'll be glad to help. I'm no pro. I'm no professional. I'm not. Everybody who has lupus transplant still has things that are different. So what may go for me may not go for you. You may have your baby and go full term. I know somebody who have a transplant and they deliver their babies naturally at home. So yeah, everybody's story is different. But if you do have questions, you can ask. And like I said, I only did this because I had questions. And when I Googled and went on YouTube, it wasn't that many videos. It wasn't anything helpful. There's a group on Facebook that I am a part of, but a lot of people have the same questions who haven't experienced it yet and who wants to experience it. So this kind of came to mind. I was going to do this with my son and got really nervous and scared and decided to do it it came in mind again when I got pregnant with her unplanned. So I decided to do it. Still scared and nervous, but don't let fear stop you and just do it. So here we are. Saya, you don't pinch, mommy.